Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen, with me, King's Ransom. In the last video, I talked a whole heck of a lot, and we actually, That's interesting. I did not know that there were items up here. We were escorting a Hydra head that we had chopped off of a giant nasty Hydra to this city, the capital. And Mercedes, the leader of the militia who we were hanging out with, she went on ahead to talk to the Duke and kind of maybe like set up some sort of schedule so that we could talk to the Duke. And yeah, good time. So we're just kind of hanging out, waiting for Mercedes to, you know, give us a little ring, call us up and say, hey, come meet with the Duke now. In the meantime, it was suggested by some random person on the street named Mason that we try to investigate the pawns. There's a pawn guild here in the city, apparently. Now, this guy right here has a green bubble above his head, which means he has a quest for us.
You seem the type unlike to judge a man by his mien alone.
So I'm going to go ahead and talk to this guy, get this quest.
We're
going to hear him out.
Long searched for a certain
and I'm going to do a little bit of exploration throughout the town before I actually go to the Pawns Guild.
Salomet's Grimoire.
So this guy is looking for a specific book, a tome, Salomet's Grimoire.
Arcane magics. The book itself is ensorcelled, you see. Even a novice is as a grand wizard with that grimoire in hand.
So it sounds interesting and kind of dangerous. A novice could turn into a grand wizard if they're holding this book.
Seek it out and bring it to me, sir. Recompense? Pray, let us speak of...
So he'll give us some sort of reward, presumably, once we acquire this book for him. And it sounds kind of dangerous and kind of powerful, interesting. I don't know. We're gonna go ahead and do that. That's a pretty interesting quest. But that's gonna be pretty far off. It's gonna be a bit ahead of where we are right now. In the meantime, nope, gotta go the other way. I'm going the wrong way. Apologies, everybody. So now I'm just going to explore the city a little bit. There's some fun stuff to do around here. There's some shops to uncover. There's going to be some items and chests and things to get and to open. There's one right there. There's a seeker token. We do need 20 seekers tokens for one of the bounty board quests that we acquired earlier in the game. Those are going to be pretty far away from where we're at right now. Like, we're not going to be acquiring all 20 of them anytime soon. But, you know, every little bit helps. Progress is progress. Alright, and there's going to be a bunch of rats down here. We do also have a quest to kill, well, mice, I guess. I don't know what you want to call them. We do have a quest to kill 7 mice or something like that. And because I'm a mage, I'm automatically locking onto them, so we're not really seeing any of them. They're tough to see. There's one just immediately to the right and kind of below my hand. There's just these little gray brown lumps. It is directly above my head right there. I don't know if you can see that. That's a dead mouse. Mages' basic attacks from the staffs automatically lock on to enemies. So this is probably one of the better classes to try to accomplish this quest with. Because you don't really have to aim too much for killing all these stinking mice. And as with all the other quests, as soon as we have killed enough, that will happen. We'll just get the pop-up saying, hey, your quest is done. Congratulations. Ooh, and there's another chest here. More items. Another Seeker's token. That was kind of unexpected. Alright, so we killed some mice. That's awesome. Got us a little bit of money, a little bit of experience. You know, I'm okay with that. Every little bit helps. You're going to hear me say that 100 billion gajillion times in this Let's Play. So, get used to it. Alright, and with that, we're done down here in the slums. These are the slums, if you couldn't tell by the rats and the homeless people wandering around.
Take care, you are soaked in water.
Let's see what else we got over here. Now, down here, yeah, here we go. This is the Black Cat. This is a very interesting shop. I'm going to go ahead and talk to this guy.
You've good eyes. Clear. Truth be told, I'm envious. Most folk I see are too glass-eyed to tell an authentic piece from a crude copy. There's no challenge. Selling my, wares to you, though. I'm sure you'll find all you need.
Alright, so he kind of hinted at how he maybe sells forgeries or something, and he does. So you can actually take use of his interesting talent. You can forge items here, so for a fee you can duplicate items that you have.
Boy there. Quite the pretty little item you have there, friend. Why not leave it with me a while? I'll craft you a forgery fit to fool the maker's own eye.
So a lot of these items, like for example, if we go to the Seeker's Token, we could give him a Seeker's Token, and for a price, he would duplicate it and give us back an additional Seeker's Token.
Anytime. I'm sure you'll find all you need.
Fairly useful and fairly important later in the game. Here's where you can buy the regular fairy stones, the non-eternal ones. The price used to be just an exorbitant amount of money, like $30,000 or something like that, $10,000. I forget exactly what it was. The price has been lowered in this expansion remake thing, Dark Arisen. And also we have an Eternal Fairy Stone, so I really don't care. But you can buy all sorts of interesting items here. Kind of unusual stuff. The Wake Stone Shard for $30,000, those are important. Oh, holy cow, all these crazy weapons. Huh. I was not expecting this at all. Interesting. So all these things, all these different pieces of armor and weapons and things like this. Nun's vestment, additional queen's clothing, 360,000. Holy cow. We look like Mercedes. Okay, so all this equipment, or most of this equipment, is brand new. Like, I have not seen most of this stuff before. This must be new in Dark Arisen, which is interesting. It's awesome and kind of exciting. Hero's Cape, pretty awesome. Neck Wrap, Heresy Cloak, Worm Hunt Mantle, Beastly Mantle. Those are pretty badass looking. Anyway,
I'm sure you'll find
he will also he'll gain additional wares over time, and more interesting is he will resell you any quest items that you have lost. Like if you drop or discard or sell or otherwise lose some item that is important to the storyline for this game, important to the critical path for this game, he will acquire it and then sell it back to you for a price. So that's always interesting. We're going to be making use of his services later on. With that, I'm decently satisfied with what we've explored. There is another quest or two that we can acquire over here, I believe. Occasionally, not right now, apparently. I'm going to go this way. There are a whole variety of different ways that we can get to the area we need to go visit here. Here's one of them. So if you go up these guard towers, you can end up on the castle wall, and consequently you can also end up on the rooftops, and you can kind of explore the roofs and, you know, look for items and whatnot. It's pretty awesome. I do really like this. I'm actually going to take a minor detour before going to the Pawns Guild. We're going to look for a few items. There's going to be some up here in the guards tower. A few that we need, even. I think we can get, like, some war bugles and Yeah, mostly just war bugles. I think we can get some of those in here. That door is locked, so we can't make use of that. But we can go ahead and climb this ladder here. There's a bunch of chests here, and these chests, like all chests in the game, will respawn after some amount of time. So after a day or a couple of days, if we come back up here, those will have respawned and they will have their items available again. So I'm going to go ahead and slide back down here, and I'm going to slide down this ladder. That was just kind of a fun little detour. Those war bugles, we do need to collect 50 of them. Pretty sure, I think 50 is the right number. That's going to be for one of the quests that we just picked up in the alehouse here. So those are going to be fairly important to us. And this drops us off here next to the stables, and then that's the gate that we originally came in when we delivered the Wormhead. Here's our central square. I'm just going to go ahead and head towards the Pawns Guild for now.
State your business. The Pawn Guild, is it? All right. Through here and to the left. Just don't make a nuisance of yourself.
It looks like Dark Arisen is having trouble with some of the textures. And I don't know if that is a problem that I can fix or not. Kind of the lazy, horrible last-gen texture loading. And I say last-gen because the Xbox One, or the Xbone, and the PlayStation 4 are both out, making this Xbox 360 that I'm playing on an obsolete system. I'm not sure if that's something that I can fix or deal with, make better in any capacity. I am going to look into that at some point between some of these videos. Hopefully I can make that better. I don't really know. This guy here has a quest. His quest is pretty straightforward. I'm going to blow through a bunch of his dialogue pretty quickly.
Please, sir, please, thank you, sir.
At least this game acknowledges how weird it is to just ask random passing strangers for assistance, because that's exactly what he's doing. He's just, hey, strange person who I don't know, will you help me?
This child is my son. Was my son.
So his son just
His
died
heart
very
always
recently.
weak, his sweetheart, since he was but a babe. But to see it, to watch him slip from my grasp.
He feels like crap because he let his son die.
To bring him back, I looked to magic.
Hope you don't mind my paraphrasing here. He looked into magic to try to extend his son's life or bring his son back to life. Dark magic,
Anything to
curses.
bring him
That
back to me.
seems kind of like a
I know
bad
it's for
idea.
madness, but still here, the first of those stones, I bought from a merchant.
So he's giving
my
us
son and
some
I passed in our travels.
stones, which we'll discuss those in a moment here. So he bought one from a
He
merchant.
spoke of a powerful magic within it.
The merchant said they're
Gather rocks
powerful
such as these,
and
not
they
that
can
I
bring the
want
dead
to
back to
blindly
life.
believe in such
And
tales.
you know what?
And so I searched.
That's cool. In
But by the
desperation,
time
he
I found
believed
the
it.
second, the whole pursuit rang hollow.
See, he found a
Great hope
second
to keep
stone.
Immortality in such trinkets, I know. I felt a fool for having ever believed it.
So he found two of these Wakestone shards, as we shall call them, because that's what they are called. I'm going to give some of these items to my other party members because these things are kind of heavy and I don't want to be heavily burdened. Alright, so Wakestone shards. A fragment ensorcelled with arcane magic. Gather 3 together if you would restore the dead to life. So if we have these items equipped, or if we have a Wakestone, which is the kind of full, complete version of these Wakestone shards. If we have a Wakestone, when my character dies, the Wakestone will bring me back to life. It'll be consumed in the process, but it will prevent me from hitting the game over screen, which is awesome. Those are fantastic, exciting, phenomenal, all sorts of good words. They're very good to have. Now, for this particular quest, if we get a Wakestone... Oh, excuse me. Now, if we get a Wakestone and give it back to this craftsman here, he will be able to bring his son back to life, much as we would bring ourselves back to life. Now, he has 2 Wakestone shards, and if you get 3 Wakestone shards, that is the magic number, and you can turn them into a full Wakestone instead of just shards. So that seems to be what he's going for. Now, if we acquire a 3rd shard, it'll turn into a full Wakestone, and we can give it back to this guy, and... Ah, crap. Into that. We can give it back to this guy, and he'll bring his son back to life, presumably, and all will be good in the world, except for the dead son brought back to life. That whole thing, kind of weird and creepy. So we're going to keep an eye out for a 3rd Wakestone shard so that we can complete that quest there. So that's his house. This is his smithy here. He will be helpful to us later on, I believe. I'm not entirely positive of that. Here's a port crystal. Fairy stone. There's an item here, a single-use fairy stone. It will respawn every handful of days, like once a week or something like that in game time. This ring of stones, port crystal, is what it's called. This port crystal means that if we use a fairy stone or our eternal fairy stone, the fast travel item, we can teleport to this location whenever we want. From the outside. I don't think it'll work from like inside of dungeons and that sort of thing. Now this is the Pawns Guild, which is where we were sent to investigate. That guy right there has a blue bubble, a blue question mark bubble, text bubble thing above his head, indicating that this is where we turn in the quest. Blue, I believe, is turn in. Green means acquire a new quest. Red means information pertinent to the quest. And yellow bubble means information for an unrelated quest. Now, I'm going to go ahead and grab these quests here off the notice board. 10,000 gold, 3,000 experience. Again, things that we're not going to be dealing with right away. Probably going to wait until later in the game, although not too much later. Hillfigure Knoll will be going to at some point in the next handful of videos. It's not too terribly far off on our horizon. Anyway, defeat 20 snow harpies, defeat 44 undead, defeat 36 skeletons, defeat 2 ogres, slay 45 rabbits. Those are the quests that we just acquired here. We'll be taking care of those later when we can.
We have awaited your coming.
So this guy right here, Barnaby.
This pawn is called Barnaby. I tend to the affairs of the Pawn Guild.
He's a pawn.
The guild serves as a place of
He's
rest
pretty
for
important to
pawns,
our quest here.
and as the gate to the Everfall. The Everfall lies beneath Gran Soren. It is a place of great importance to our kind. But for now, let us rejoice in the coming of the Arisen, the light that guides the Legion.
Okay. So, Arisen is important to this guy.
It grieves me to burden you, weary from the road as you must be. I would bet.
Alright, so he needs our help. And we have a little cutscene because it is a story mission. It is a critical path mission here. So we're going to go ahead and let this cutscene play out. Although there's not much noise or music or sound or dialogue at this point. That is the Everfall, which he mentioned. He's going to mention it again.
The Everfall, an ancient place that sleeps beneath Gran Soren's stones. We pawns have long served as keepers of the entrance to this place. But since the dragon's coming, a strange aura has filled the Everfall. A presence. If it be some omen of evil to come, we cannot allow it to go unchecked. I ask that you seek out the cause of the change, or some proof of what's happened. The Everfall is a place unique unto itself. This is not a simple task, nor a favor I ask lightly, which is why I ask you, Arisen. Please, lend us your aid.
Okay, so pawns eternally guard and protect this area. And the area suddenly turned creepy. So he wants us to go and investigate and see, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, exactly how creepy is this place. So we're going to go ahead and take care of this. I'm probably going to go a fair ways down and then off camera, or maybe on camera, I don't know, I haven't decided, come back, maybe try to upgrade some of my armor and equipment and stuff, because this place is fairly nasty. There's a mini-boss in this area that is just quite difficult for me to deal with. Also, there's spiders here, which makes this instantly the worst place in the entire world. I hate spiders. No, these spiders aren't that bad. They can spit poison, they can bite you and do poison damage.
Advance slowly where visibility is poor.
And
It will give us
they're
time
only right here, so we don't have to deal with any more. And just those, like, what, 6 or however many I dealt with there. Those actually aren't that bad. And I believe there are going to be some items off on the side here. Also, we can come over to the edge and we can look down. That blue glowy stuff at the bottom, that is our end goal. That's where we gotta go. Gotta get all the way down to the bottom and check it out. There's gonna be bats in here as well. Again, as a mage, I can lock on with my basic attacks. So that's gonna be fairly useful for taking on bats and some of these weaker creatures.
Grand Soren's gate, but this place holds monsters just the same.
My kind grows better.
Maybe. Maybe not. Jeez, these stupid bats are just pecking away at me. Ah, right. So I don't know that I've actually discussed the healing system, how the healing spells work and that sort of thing. So I'm going to talk about that since it's pretty much a given that I'm going to take more damage here as we go through the Everfall. So in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see that I have the green health bar, and then that number above it, 596, is my health. Now, as I take damage, some percentage of the damage that I take turns into a gray health bar. So you can see right now, 490, I have green, I have a tiny little sliver of gray, and then I have the kind of empty, darker health bar beyond that. So the gray, the light gray, oh man, these bats are kind of irritating. The lighter gray of my health bar is what can be recovered by the curative magics, by that spell that Lucy can cast on me. So anything that is completely empty, like on the far right of my health bar, can only be recovered by food or by resting at an inn. Curative spells will not heal that, whereas the gray bits can be healed. So always something to keep in mind, because that does impact, you know, when you want to consume food. You know, you'd rather, if someone's about to cast a healing spell on you, it's better to let them cast the healing spell and then eat food at the end of that to kind of top off, rather than eating food to fill up the gray part and then, you know, the healing spell is useless from that point forward. Alright, so we got a bunch of skeletons here. I'm just gonna kind of hang back and peg them with fireballs as much as I can. Leave my warrior and my archer, or my strider, to kind of hop in there and do the bulk of the melee damage, kind of take the hits, protect Lucy and myself. Cool.
That's all.
So that wasn't that bad, and then we can pick up some items from killing those skeletons. And of course, I am now heavily encumbered again. At some point, I'm probably going to try to edit out a bunch of this inventory management stuff, because it does get just unbelievably tedious, and I'm already sick of it. I can't really imagine how you guys are going to feel. I'm probably going to try to edit some of that stuff out, just so you guys don't have to see it. I don't know about the feasibility of that, though, because I am also super duper lazy. But yeah, the inventory management is kind of irritating. 'Cause I just... Oh, man. As someone who plays RPGs just in general,
That was a waste
I
of time.
am always a bit of a pack rat.
Have we sufficient
In this
goods?
game, you're really pretty heavily punished for being a pack rat. Similar to... Well, I mean, not super similar to Dark Souls. In Dark Souls, the items you pick up don't count towards your weight limit unless you have them equipped. In this game, everything you pick up counts against your weight limit, and that gets pretty nasty pretty quickly. For example, there are a lot of herbs and other items that can be, you know, used to upgrade armor or weapons, you know, used to upgrade your equipment. And they can also be used as consumables. You know, you eat... Oh, dang it, didn't mean to do that. You can use them, you know, use this herb and you will recover a bit of health. And if you give them to your pawns, to your party, they will use them to recover health. And so if you're trying to save those to upgrade some piece of equipment, specifically,
Best we prepare well.
What's that?
you don't want to give those items to pawns, because the pawns will use them, and then you won't have them anymore, and it can be kind of irritating. Awesome, so we got a circlet here. This will be equipped by Lucy. Apparently doesn't have anything equipped? What on earth? Oh, because she has the nun's vestment, so she can't equip anything else. Right. Well, never mind then, because I had forgotten about that.
This place hides
Normally I would equip that for her because it boosts your magic damage a little bit. But the nun's vestments, that's a whole outfit, and it's one item, but like it fills up all your different equipment slots, if that makes any sense. Like, you can't have the nun's vestments and then equip a set of boots or something on top of that. Doesn't work. It's all or nothing. You either have the nun's vestments or you have a different set of equipment in each slot. God, I'm heavily encumbered again. Freaking kidding me. I'm going to give some of these fairly heavy sets of armor to Lucy, and I'm going to give these 2 Wakestone shards to Lucy as well. Halfbone, not super heavy. Skull is fairly heavy. I'm going to give that to Ilda. Alright, and now we should be fine with our equipment.
It does not seem human.
And now we get our first encounter with the undead.
They falter in their assault.
Find an opening, then
Although
strike.
these are not too terribly difficult to deal with, especially since I'm a mage, and especially, even more especially, since I have the fire staff. I don't know that I ever actually mentioned this earlier, but this staff that I bought, the Crimson Glare, I believe it's called, just by default does fire damage. So when I just do my basic attack and shoot these little orbs from my staff, they are automatically, inherently, by default, fire damage. They're just little fire orbs. Undead, these zombies, they are weak to fire and to holy damage, the holy element. And I don't have any of the holy element with me per se. The healing spell, I don't know that I've talked about that much either. Oh, there's one. The healing spell may just plop on the ground, so I can actually cast it here myself, Anodyne. Now, that little logo right there is where I can cast it, so I can plop it down on the ground. Nope. And anybody who is standing in kind of a radius around this, anybody who's standing in the area, will have their gray bits of their health bar recovered. Now, that also counts as holy magic, so it heals us, but if anything that's weak to the damage, like skeletons or zombies or anything like that, if any of those creatures wander into the range of that spell, they will take damage. So that's something good to keep in mind. Alright, now we have some more skeletons to deal with, and I believe there's like a skeleton mage or something in here. Yeah, you can see it casting a spell all the way back there. I'm going to hide around this corner because I really don't want to get hit by any spells that that skeleton mage might cast. And also, that is a whole heck of a lot of skeletons. Oh, and Antonio is down, so I don't think I've talked about what happens when pawns die or are close to death. So as what's happening to Antonio and now Lucy, they get a little skull above them, and then a little swirling vortex thing appears above them. And it's about to happen to Ilda as well. That vortex that appears above them is the rift. Oh man, and Antonio's been hit again. The rift is where we go to summon pawns, and when pawns are approaching death, the rift appears above them to kind of reclaim them. Now, if I don't do anything with this pawn, after some period of time, which is like a minute or two, I mean, it's a pretty significant amount of time. You do have a fair, like the game is not super punishing. It does give you a chance to actually get to them, and then maybe even then some on top of that. But if you let it go for a while without helping the pawn, they will be sucked back into the rift and be gone. You will no longer have them in your party. I'm going to go ahead and heal Ilda there, and all you have to do is run up to them and then hit the B button on the Xbox controller. Hit the interact button, whatever that button is. Oh man, fire. Jeez, these skeletons are just wrecking us here. Okay, so I just need to run up to them and hit the cure button and kind of assist those pawns and help them back up, and then they come back and they have half their maximum amount of health, which is pretty good. Now, as you can see what's going on there, Antonio, or maybe you couldn't see, Antonio or my other pawns can pick up anybody who's injured. So in that case, Antonio picked up Lucy, and they can carry injured pawns back to me. So they kind of know that I'm the only one who can save them. So Antonio can pick up Lucy and carry her back to me so that I can revive her. Or, Ilda, or any combination of them, right? Like that should be pretty straightforward, pretty self-explanatory that they could do that. Alright, that's gotta be a skeleton mage or something, so I really gotta be careful and see if I can do as much damage as possible to this thing, because this is dangerous. There we go. Oh, and it dropped not a rock, because that was on the ground there, but a rift fragment, so that's 100 rift crystals, which is pretty fantastic. Although I would have preferred to get like a tome or a grimoire or a scroll or something like that is specific to mages. So that's unfortunate. I didn't get one of his more uncommon or rare drops, but it's okay. We survived. Now, on the other side of this area, let's see, I think, yeah, we have another room here, and there's going to be a bunch of undead popping out of the ground there. You can see them. They're weak to fire. Now, normally these undead enemies have just like a tremendous amount of defense. They're very difficult to do damage to unless you're using either fire or holy magic or enchantments. So, like, Ilda is just kind of stabbing away with her daggers and not really doing anything significant to these creatures. But with my magic damage, just like my fireballs that I'm shooting from my staff here, boom, 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 just off the tip of my staff, my regular attack, I can actually do a substantial amount of damage to those undead creatures, those zombies, which is pretty phenomenal. Normally they're a huge, 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 huge pain in the butt to deal with. Alright, now, around this corner here to the right, so you can see there's a critter there, and there's a gate. So he was on the other side of the gate. That's actually an ogre. Ogres are really nasty to deal with, so I'm going to pause here real quick. Oh man, I really don't want to fight that ogre. Those ogres are horrible. I hate fighting ogres, especially this early in the game. So you have that to look forward to. Me fighting a hated enemy. I'm going to go ahead and tackle the ogre and then finish off the Everfall in my next video here, since we are kind of running a bit long on this one. So thank you for joining me, everybody, and I will see you next time.